People say they don't have enough time in a day, but what are you doing with that time? We're going to talk about 5 things that you could do to be more productive. We're going to jump right into it. Make sure you're taking some notes. The very first thing that you want to do is execute your intentions for the week. How many times have you said you're going to do something and you don't do it? Maybe you have this long to-do list of things. Might be time to narrow your focus. When you execute your intentions, that is going to allow you to build confidence. It's going to increase your self-integrity, and it's going to make you a dependable person, because there are often been times where I would show up for other people more than I would show up for myself. Okay. And that's because I wanted to please everyone. I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted people to be like, hey, that's the man. But when I go home, I'm missing out on time with my family. I'm missing out on time to do my own personal projects because I've over obligated myself. So if you have an issue with executing your intentions for the week, narrow your focus, first of all, and also be very mindful about what you intend to do. The second thing that you could do to be more productive is wake up a half hour earlier. So when you wake up a half hour earlier, you're going to have more time to do things that you might not necessarily have time for otherwise. I'll give you an example. I like to do everything the night before. So I'm saying wake up a half hour earlier. Maybe the night before you take a half hour to prepare for the next day so you can really take advantage of that half hour. I've talked about this SAVERS acronym, where that first few hours in the morning, you are going to sit in silence. You're going to affirm to yourself. You're going to visualize. You're going to exercise. You're going to read, and then you're going to write. So those are some things that you could do within that half hour. And then you could work your way up to waking up an hour early and then 2 hours early. People say they don't have enough time in a day, but what are you doing with that time? If you're one of those people that say, hey, I don't really have enough time in a day to do all these things, try waking up a bit earlier every day, and you'll notice that you're going to get more done. You're going to be more productive. The next thing that you can do to be more productive is to work in half-hour blocks. What we're doing here is we're minimizing the work, but we're increasing the productivity. So if I say I want to clean up the room or wash the dishes, that's where you could start. I remember when I first got married and we were a young couple and we were both working, 40, 50 hours a week. We had kids. I'd come home, it'd be clothes all on the couch. We were both coming home at the same time. Things were all over the place, and I didn't really have a lot of time management. Typically, what happens is your lack of productivity comes down to time management. I was coaching this kid recently, and he was all over the place. He was spending a whole day on certain projects, and before he knew it, he had no productivity, and the day just went by him. I tried to teach him, like, hey, work in half-hour time blocks. It's the Pomodoro technique. You take a clock or a timer, push it up to 30 or even 25 to give yourself a 5-minute break, and you do as much as you can within that half hour. And studies show if you're working against a deadline, you're going to be more productive because you're doing your best to beat the clock. Next thing I'm doing to be more productive this week is I'm going to eat clean and move daily. You want to definitely eat clean. When I say eat clean, whole foods, steak, eggs. Steak and eggs is like the best meal. I stopped eating processed foods. I ate the kids' snacks recently. I indulged a bit, and I woke up the next morning feeling a little out of sorts, very lethargic, tired. I wanted to sleep in. I hit snooze a couple extra times. What you put into your body, especially these processed foods, there are a lot of chemicals in these foods. I'm not going to go too deep down the rabbit hole of the meats and all that stuff. Some of you might be vegan. Whatever eating clean looks like for you, I would highly encourage you to explore that and execute that intention. If you say, hey, I'm going to eat clean, start now. Talk to your doctor, tell them what you're wanting to do. They'll give you some tips on where to go. The movement is going to create confidence. There's this scene from Boiler Room with Ben Affleck. In the movie, Ben Affleck has this short scene where he says, motion creates emotion. So when you're moving, when you're up on your feet, when you're walking around, it's going to allow you to think. It's going to allow you to start speaking confidently. Back in the day when I was doing sales on the phones, we were just calling phones straight up. I would be walking back and forth, pacing back and forth. There was a sense of boss to that, right? So make sure you're eating clean and moving daily. And then lastly, we talk about executing your intentions for the week. Track your victories as you execute your intentions. As you say, what's important this week? Track these victories. You woke up a half hour earlier. Track that. That's a win right there. These little small victories, they are going to compound, and all of a sudden you'll have these huge wins at the end of the week that you can look back on. Everything that we went over today, none of this matters without a proper attitude. And when I say attitude, the attitude to get it done, the attitude to be more productive, not allowing one thing to throw you off and have you just say, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. The attitude to understand that not every day is going to go your way. The attitude to believe, hey man, I got this. A lot of people don't go into task with good attitudes. So when they complete that task, it's like halfway done. But when you take a dope attitude into your day, when you take a dope attitude into that task, just focus on a single task, a specific task. You don't have to look at the day as a whole, because when you look at the day as a whole, or the month as a whole, or the year as a whole, the season as a whole, setbacks don't erase the progress that you've made. When you have an attitude of, I'm going to get this done, you can lean into the progress even if you have a setback. We all have setbacks. I had a big setback recently. I went to the hospital. I had to have surgery. It was crazy. I'm like, yo, I've made all this progress. I could have let that get me and just be like, you know what? I'm done for the year. That's what most people do. But when you have an attitude of, hey, I've made so much progress, got this one little setback, I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to see what happens, because I keep going, I keep showing up, and I'm executing my intentions. That's better. That's a better wait and see. Not anything in this world is promised outside of, we're living and we're not going to be here forever. So while you're here, make the most out of the time that you have, the time you've been blessed with, the time you've been given. And it starts with those 5 things. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, or subscribe on YouTube so more people can hear this. Until next week, again, this is your boy, Freed, with The Art of Being Freed, and I will see you soon. Peace.